Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Watson Report here exclusively for PrisonPlanet.tv members at PrisonPlanet.tv. Now in today's report we're going to be discussing the real agenda behind cyber security, political oppression and the death of free speech. Now, as you know, if you've been tuning into the Alex Jones show over the past several weeks and months, we've been covering this cyber security agenda, and in particular Joe Lieberman's internet kill switch bill, which we will go on to discuss in a moment. But to start off with, for you to get an idea of the true scale of the attack on the internet and the move globally towards a Chinese-style censored, regulated internet, I just want you to type in the keywords internet censorship into a Google News search, and you'll immediately understand just how deep this goes. From Vietnam to Turkey to Belarus to Australia to Pakistan to Egypt. All over the world, governments are imposing internet censorship, and they're using the Chinese model as the system to aspire to. Now, why should this concern Americans? What governments halfway across the globe are doing to regulate the internet. Well, Senator Joe Lieberman, the so-called independent, who always, on every single issue, votes with big government, votes with the elite. He's not an independent at all. He's the ultimate globalist insider. Now, Lieberman has made it clear that the United States should aspire to copy, ape, and mimic the Chinese model for internet regulation and censorship. Now, this new package of legislation that Lieberman's introduced, that's already been approved by the Senate Homeland Security Committee and is now destined for a full Senate vote over the coming weeks, the Protecting Cyberspace as a National Asset Act. Now, when this came out in the media, when it was divulged exactly what this bill contained, Lieberman quickly went on to CNN, and in response to certainly the article that we wrote, that I put out, that got linked on the Drudge Report and went absolutely viral, about Obama having a figurative kill switch to shut down certain parts of the internet, which he has in this bill. Sydney Morning Herald reported, and you can go to the bill and read it for yourself. It gives Obama the power to shut down the internet for at least 4 months. At least 4 months, after which he has to get approval from Congress. But for 4 months, President Obama can shut down the internet with no oversight whatsoever, in the name of cyber security. So as soon as this became known and it went viral on the internet, Lieberman was trotted out on CNN, and he tried to debunk the claims that this gave Obama, and in fact any president that follows Obama, a figurative kill switch for the internet. Now, as I just said, it does give Obama a figurative kill switch for the internet for at least 4 months. But the main thing to come out of this Lieberman appearance on CNN, and you've seen the video, we've posted it on the website before, it's all over YouTube, is the fact that he explicitly said China, the Chinese Communist government, has the power to regulate the internet, so we should have it too. And by we, he means the corporate elite, the offshore bankers, the New World Order that run America. So Lieberman was open and honest in saying that the United States federal government should have the same powers as the Communist Chinese government to regulate the internet. And in doing so, Lieberman completely revealed the cyber security agenda for what it was. Nothing to do with security, everything to do with political oppression. He's openly saying they want to mimic the Chinese model. So what is the Chinese model? Well, let's take a look. Again, Chinese model of internet censorship has nothing to do with security and everything to do with silencing dissent against the state. This is about political oppression and censorship of free speech. Now, the Chinese censorship system of the internet in China is operated, it's run via a centralized government blacklist of websites. Every time you try to visit a website in China, you're first sent to a government server which checks the website against a list of blackballed, blacklisted websites that are censored. Now, I've been to China on 2 separate occasions. Centre of Shanghai, you know, modern city, one of the most thriving, economically sound, burgeoning cities in the world, Shanghai. You go on the internet in Shanghai and it's like you're in, you know, 1997 on a 56k dial-up connection. Because every website you attempt to visit first has to be routed through a government server. Now, when you've got millions of people trying to do this all at the same time, obviously it's going to cause lags, it's going to cause delays, and that's exactly what happens. The Chinese internet is terrible. It's slow because it's stifled by the blacklist. So not only are we, under this new model being proposed by Lieberman, going to have websites which the government deems unsuitable completely blocked, even if you're trying to visit, you know, yahoo.com or amazon.co.uk, because everything has to be routed through a centralized government server, and you know how competent the government is in running technological systems. This thing's going to crash. It's going to be slow. You know, we're going to reverse internet speed progress 10 or 15 years with this system. So it's not just about censorship. It's about quality of service, and that will decline completely if this Chinese system is introduced. And you can test it for yourself. If you go on holiday to Shanghai or Beijing, try and use the internet. It's terrible. It barely even works half the time. So this is what Lieberman wants in America. He aspires to the Chinese system. He said it on CNN. Now, we've got the centralized blacklist of websites, right? So you can't visit politically sensitive websites. Any website, any forum, any bulletin board that's critical of the state in any way is censored. And this has got nothing to do with security. At politically sensitive times, the Chinese government censors and shuts down whole parts of the internet. And they last did it just around a year ago in July 2009 during the anti-government riots in Xinjiang. Now this is of course the Han Chinese fighting with the Muslim Chinese in that area, and widespread anti-government protests. So what did the Chinese government do? They shut off all the websites that the Muslim Chinese were using to politically organise. And in fact, they shut off internet access across the whole region. And this is a massive region. They cut off internet access for a whole year. In some areas of China, in that region, the internet access is only just being restored now. And this is what Lieberman wants to give to Obama. So, the Chinese government, with its system that Lieberman wants America to emulate, uses its power to regulate and shut down the internet to silence political activism and oppress downtrodden people. This is what Lieberman wants. He said he wanted it on CNN. This is the Chinese model that's being introduced worldwide. This is why free speech, the lights of free speech are going out on the internet across the globe. And of course, I mean, you routinely hear stories about how the Chinese government temporarily will suspend Twitter, Google, YouTube, even major websites like this, in politically sensitive times. When things are getting a little too heated for them, they shut down parts of the internet. This is the kill switch that Obama will get his hands on if this Senate bill is passed over the next few weeks. Also in China, news websites require users, if they want to leave comments, if they want to criticize the state, for example, if the state's, involved in wrongdoing, they have to register their true identities just to be able to leave a comment. Now, of course, this is the wider evisceration of anonymity on the internet. In a sense, this is more alarming than merely the power to shut down parts of the internet. Because if you eviscerate anonymity on the internet, it completely chills free speech from the outset. So in China, people are completely reluctant to leave comments which criticize the state or the authorities because they have to put in their true identity to leave a comment on a news website. So they're less likely to engage in dissent. This is about chilling free speech. This is what Lieberman wants for the United States of America under his cybersecurity bill. Now, there's now talk in China of not just a blacklist, but the construction of a whitelist of websites, whereby you as a website owner would have to apply to the government for permission to have a website. And we've linked to the articles on prisonplanet.com numerous times where this would mean, quote, millions of completely innocuous websites would be banned. Not merely because the government would refuse permission to websites which it deemed might criticize the state, but just through sheer incompetence with licensing systems, many people who apply are not even going to get a response because of the bureaucracy, the red tape, the incompetence. So now they're moving beyond just a blacklist and saying that you need to apply for a license, for permission to have a website. This is a whitelist, in effect. And this is what the entire cybersecurity agenda is all about, as we'll get to in a moment. Now, Obama himself has openly criticized the Chinese government's policy of internet censorship, saying it blocks the free flow of information. And yet, under this Lieberman legislation, Protecting Cyberspace as a National Asset Act, about to be voted on by the Senate, he would have these very same powers to block the free flow of information. This is what Lieberman wants Obama to have under this bill, and it's in the bill. He wants the Chinese system. And what is the Chinese system exclusively centered around? Nothing to do with real security, and everything to do with keeping people oppressed by eliminating any means of widespread dissent and preventing people from organizing politically. It's got nothing to do with foreign hackers or terrorists. This is all overblown. And the fact that it's about political oppression was admitted by Lieberman himself, because he said he wanted the Chinese model. This is what the Chinese model represents. And as we mentioned before, it's not merely about, giving Obama the power to shut down certain segments of the internet. It's a war on anonymity. Even if the government was able to shut down parts of the internet, all the experts say that new networks are guaranteed to pop up to replace them. So the problem's not going to be access, because new networks will usurp the old ones shut down by the government. Of course, that's going to be a problem, but there is a way around it. And indeed, as the people who have attempted to downplay concerns about the kill switch legislation say, Obama already, in a sense, has the power to order the internet shut down under the Communications Act. Now, all this new Lieberman legislation does is formally codify that power. which is alarming in itself. But the key thing, the real threat posed by the wider cybersecurity agenda, is this implementation of government-approved ID tokens to use the internet. This is a licensing system, in effect, to use the internet. And Obama's cybersecurity coordinator, Howard Schmidt, in a paper he compiled with the aid of the National Security Council, said that the strategy revolves around, and this is out of the Financial Times of London, quote, the creation of a system for identity management that would allow citizens to use additional authentication techniques such as physical tokens or modules on mobile phones to verify who they are before buying things online or accessing such sensitive information as health or banking records, report the Financial Times. And then it says only with this government-issued token will internet users be able or be allowed to, quote, move from website to website. So only through this licensing, this ID token, will you be able to visit certain websites. This is a step beyond the Chinese system. This is more draconian. The ID system, apart from leaving comments on news websites, as I mentioned earlier, you have to leave your personal identity to do that in China. But China, in fact, rejected giving ID cards for bloggers, as it were. So this cybersecurity program that Obama's coordinator is proposing is more draconian than the current Chinese system. So this is going to create a World Wide Web that's completely sterile, a World Wide Web in which anonymity is completely removed. And if you engage in the hate speech, as they call it, of criticising government, then they can merely revoke your license and not allow you to be a blogger, not allow you to run your own website in the first place. So it's about the power to shut down the internet, and above and beyond it, it's about the creation of individual ID cards or licenses for internet users. This is the real agenda behind cybersecurity. This is what is in Lieberman's bill, and this is what's in the white paper outlined by Obama's cybersecurity czar. This is what they want for the internet. This is the death of free speech on the internet. And in addition to this, we've got, as it came out over the last few days, the TSA installing software on their network which blocks websites that contain, quote, controversial information. Again, this is about eliminating, sidelining, dissent against the state. I mean, the TSA, there's been an explosion in complaints against the TSA because they harass people on a routine basis in airports. Pregnant women, severely disabled people, the elderly, are all being manhandled, brutalised by the TSA on a regular basis. This is about preventing their goons from finding out who they're working for. Beelzebub there. So it's about restricting information. It's about restricting truth. London Underground, St Pancras. You go on the Wi-Fi network in St Pancras, London, and this is a major international transport hub, one of the busiest in the world. You try and get on prisonplanet.com, blocked, access denied. Because it's hate speech to criticise the government, so they block our website. They block even mildly political websites. Libraries, universities, places of work are all installing software filters that block politically sensitive websites, as in any website not controlled by the corporate media. So people say, for example, there was a comment in an article I wrote about this the other day, well, this is a private network, this is not censorship. It's down to them if they want to filter out websites. Because it's a private network, they can do what they like. But what do you think the whole entire frickin' internet is? It's a fusion of privately owned networks. Verizon, AT&T, Q West, level 3. These are all privately owned networks. Sometimes they have disputes with each other and you can't get to a website because it's blocked off. Entire networks are blocked off. So if this filter of websites is standardized across the internet, it doesn't matter who owns the network because it's going to be mandated as a regulation. So just because the TSA is a private network doesn't mean that this isn't of concern. The entire internet's a private network owned by giant corporations who will gleefully implement these cybersecurity internet kill switch policies, mandates, because they've been promised, and it's in the bill, that if Obama shuts down parts of the internet for any length of time, they will be compensated for revenue lost. So if you're thinking, oh, you know, Amazon and MySpace and Facebook, you know, all the big boys, they're going to be really pissed off if Obama shuts down the internet. They don't care. All their expenses are going to be covered and you're going to pay for it as a taxpayer. Isn't that marvellous? So you're not going to get any opposition from the big corporations. Because on top of that, they've got protection against lawsuits from individual users. So it's all covered on that side, and they're going to click their heels and go along with it willingly. So this is really, we're on the verge of the death of free speech on the internet. If this bill passes, this is going to be the beginning of the end for the internet being the last true outpost of free speech, which it is. They want to turn the internet into a kind of sterile, cable-like system where the costs involved, the bureaucracy and the red tape of getting a presence on that medium, like a cable channel, is so prohibitive, so expensive, that barely anybody can do it. And that allows the massive corporations to control all the channels, which is what they do with cable television. That's what they want for the internet. They want it corporate-owned, government-regulated, licensed, centralized. This is what cybersecurity is all about. They want the Chinese-style internet in America and in the so-called free Western nations. And it's already being introduced on many levels. But the death knell for free speech on the internet is this Lieberman bill, the Protecting Cyberspace as a National Asset Act, the 197-page bill, which has been approved by the Senate Homeland Security Committee and now moved to the Senate for a full vote. Now we need to take action on this. If this bill passes, it's the beginning of the end for free speech on the internet. That's how big it is. Call your senator. Demand they vote against the Lieberman bill. Or you can kiss your right to free speech and anonymity on the internet goodbye forever. Now, you can find your senator via a link we've got on the website. Whole list of senators there that you can find your own senator. Contact them through email. Or you can call the Senate switchboard in Washington at 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. And tell your senator's office, if they vote for this bill, you'll vote them out of office. Because if this monster passes, then the lights go out for free speech on the internet. It's that serious. The cybersecurity agenda is about political oppression and censorship of free speech while killing anonymity on the internet for all and preventing people from engaging in legitimate dissent against the state and giving the state a monopoly on information once again. This is the Watson Report for PrisonPlanet.tv. Now, we'll end by thanking the subscribers to PrisonPlanet.tv. If you didn't take out a membership, none of this could be possible. The radio show, the websites, the movies. We thank members for continuing their subscription And if you want to get access to all this material, my weekly reports, daily archives of the Alex Jones Show, every single Alex Jones movie, dozens of other movies by documentary filmmakers, Camp FEMA, we just posted recently, then please subscribe at prisonplanet.tv. We've got now some 6 years of archived video special reports, speeches, documentaries, radio shows, and it's just $5.95 a month. We've kept the same price for 6 years. It supports the Alex Jones network. It allows us to survive and grow our information outreach. So please subscribe at prisonplanet.tv for more special video reports like the one you viewed today. And please call your senators and tell them to vote down this dreaded cybersecurity bill introduced by Joe Lieberman, protecting cyberspace as a National Asset Act, because it will kill free speech on the internet for all. Thanks for tuning in. My name's Paul Joseph Watson. This is the Watson Report. Take care.